The gust front's out ahead of that line, though.
You're up.
All right, meteorologist Zach Scott alongside meteorologist Stephen Elmore once again giving you an update here on the shower and thunderstorm activity that is moving south through the river valley now. And we're going to continue to track this out for you. Good news is the line of storms is pushing through quickly. And we're not going to see shower and storm activity lingering all day long. Unfortunately, we're not going to keep the rain, cold air around all day long either. Clouds will eventually break up. It's still early in the day, but it's holding off that heat from building in as quick as it has the last couple of days. But eventually the sunshine will come out and we'll finish with a hot, humid day, likely highs ranging from the upper 80s to some low to mid 90s around 5 country, just depending on how soon, how fast can we get that sunshine out. But we're holding off in the river valley where we've been the hottest the last few days. All right, we've got some strong winds coming through. I think we've got a solid area here of 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts with some pockets of 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts. New updates for us. We do have Scott, Logan, Johnson, and Pope counties now under a severe thunderstorm watch. Again, we're watching for the potential of a few damaging wind gusts, 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's the main threat here this morning. Also, Benton County and Carroll counties have been removed from the thunderstorm watch. I think the severe threat is also over for Washington and Madison counties as well, but still some gusty winds. We've still had a few gusts over 20 up to 30 miles per hour, well behind the line up towards the north. All right, so here is our main severe thunderstorm warning for Haskell, Latimer, LaFleur into Sebastian counties. For this line of storms moving in quickly, it's racing off towards the south, 40 to 50 miles per hour. And again, also update here. There's so many things we want to cover. Meteorologist Stephen Elmore, what was the latest? Now, we did have, when this line of storms came through northwest Arkansas, knocked out some power. And what was the latest that number was up to?
Yeah, latest update was a couple hundred in Benton County and then a couple thousand in Washington County. If we refresh this now, we've got 156 power outages in Benton County, close to 4,000 in Washington County, and in Crawford, we're already over 1,000 power outages.
Oh, really?
As well. Yes.
That's that leading edge right there. And you can even see that green line right out ahead of the rain. That's that rain, cold air, that gust front that's out ahead of the line of storms. And that's where you'll see those winds start to pick up. So winds are going to be switching out of the north here any minute in the Paris area, Boonville down to Waldron. This is where we're seeing, again, those stronger winds taking over. You still got the bright greens off towards the north, so it stays gusty for a while. Go ahead and put a 15-minute loop on this, and we'll see it likely go from green to red. Those strong winds now coming down towards the south, moving towards Poto. So if we do have some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, we're likely going to find those from Poto over towards Greenwood, where we're seeing the reds go to the pinks. We can zoom in there a little bit closer. This may be the area with the strongest winds in all of 5 country right now in terms of maybe, again, just the best chance to see some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Everywhere along this leading edge, again, you're seeing 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. Greenwood, winds are picking up out of the north for you. Pensacola, they're strong. Panama, down to Poto. These brighter colors, that's where we could see not only 30 to 40, but 50 up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. These strong winds, they're, again, sometimes you don't give 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts enough credit. They can and have caused some power issues here this morning. We even had, again, talked about the power outages for Washington County. We had some of our co-workers here coming in this morning saying that they saw some power flashes and saw some lights hanging off light poles a little bit. So, again, 40, 50 mile per hour winds. I've seen them snap power line poles. So I've been doing this for over a decade now. I've seen them do that out in Oklahoma. They can knock over some trees at times. They're pretty strong out there. So some winds are picking up. Dark clouds moving in to LaFleur and Sebastian counties this morning. This is where, again, we have the potential for some maybe 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Highway 71 heading down towards Mansfield. And then if it'll hold together, and it likely will, we'll see the rain and the winds moving into Scott County. So heads up to you. And then eventually from Poto down towards Heaver, we'll see those strong winds picking up as well. Any updates for us, Stephen?
Let's check the National Weather Service. Haven't heard much from them so far. Again, or some areas right below the severe limit, around 40, 50 mile an hour winds, where we have that severe thunderstorm warning across Sebastian into LaFleur, southern Sequoia County. I'll go ahead and back it out here just a little bit. This is going out until, let's see here, until 9:45, so a good 40 minutes left on this warning, and most likely it's going to sustain itself, not be canceled early unless we see some changes here. But this is for 60-mile-an-hour winds. No hail involved in this. We knew going into today that the main threat was going to be straight line winds. That's what we've seen so far across northwest Arkansas, parts of the River Valley. That's why we have those power outages in Washington and Crawford County. So again, as this line continues to dive towards the south, producing 60, maybe a little bit higher wind gusts right now. That's going to move some things around. That's going to cause some power outages potentially. Our strongest area, where Zach was just pointing out, inside that warning polygon. But if you look off towards the east into Logan and Johnson County, it's not warned right now, but those are still some stronger winds out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can clearly see it right there. That's what we're seeing. So green for the winds coming into the radar site. You see the radar site there just south of Fort Smith. And then it goes, as the winds are moving away from the radar site, they're red. So green inbound, red outbound. And that's when you see it kind of taking over, shifting those colors. That's that line that we're watching right there. That's easily 30, maybe some 40-mile-per-hour gusts. And that's what we've been seeing. This line has a history of producing 40, 50-mile-per-hour gusts back in northwest Arkansas. And we should be getting an update. If you want to refresh the Fort Smith winds gusts, I've got those pulled up, a tab over there, Stephen, and when you get that refresh, see what the latest wind gusts coming through, because I mean, the winds are past the airport now, so we should be seeing that soon.
Just a quick update before we do that. We talked about how the severe threat's moving towards the south. Washington, Madison County, you have now been dropped from the severe thunderstorm watch as well.
Yeah, good news. Okay, so again, severe clear off towards the north. That threat is moving further off towards south. And where's that threat? It's really right here with this red line. That's where you have the heaviest rains. That's where you have the strongest winds. So as that moves past you, your threat for severe weather is over for the day. So that's good news too.
Fort Smith Regional Airport just picked up a 48-mile-per-hour gust.
Yeah, 48. Okay. We had a couple of 53-mile-per-hour gusts at X and A when this line was moving through, and it didn't even look this intense. The line actually, when it was coming through, didn't even have as many reds and oranges showing up, but just shows you that this strong wind gust that's coming out of this cluster of storms, it's there. The rain pulses up and down, the lightning pulses up and down at times, but this strong winds coming out of these storms, I mean, they don't just stop like that. It takes some time, like a train moving down the railroad tracks, right? It puts on those brakes. It doesn't come to a stop instantly. It takes time, and that's what we're seeing here. But this line of storms has really picked up some steam. It's kind of intensified more once it got near and south of I-40, a little bit stronger looking than it did when it came through northwest Arkansas. But again, like I said, still produced some 40, 50-mile-per-hour gusts. We had a couple of wind gusts, 38, 39 miles per hour, right around the 40-mile-per-hour mark at Drakefield. So we likely had some 40-mile-per-hour winds around the Farmington area over towards Fayetteville. And again, now we're seeing these brighter colors showing up. So I think you're getting some 50, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts there coming in. South of Fort Smith, moving through the Greenwood area, moving down Highway 71. Heads up to you right now in Mansfield. You've got those strong winds off towards the north. They're racing in. This line of storms is moving around 50 miles per hour. Or is it come down a little bit? Is it 40?
I'm going to check that out right now.
And those strong winds coming into Poto as well. The highway from Poto to Bacola, strong winds. Increasing rapidly.
So the speed of it, the way it's the speed of it moving has definitely slowed down. Earlier across northwest Arkansas, we were talking about these storms diving at around 55 miles per hour. Now we've slowed down to around 30 miles per hour. Still producing winds up to 60 miles per hour. So I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you. The system, the whole storm line, is moving south at around 30 miles per hour. But the winds involved in it producing up to around 60-mile-an-hour winds. So we're going to go ahead and adjust our timeline for that. We have to feed that into our system, so we'll move that down to 30 miles per hour and go ahead and track this line out for folks across the River Valley, Leflore County, Sebastian, across to Logan County, and even into Johnson County. Down the line, Scott County is going to see some of these stronger winds as well. If we time that out, adjusted to 30 miles per hour now, you got Poto at 9:10, Boonville at 9:13, down to Heavener around 9:30, Waldron around 9:40. So you got some time, especially if you're Waldron area, Heavener area, before this line of thunderstorms gets to you, but it's still producing those severe damaging wind gusts around 50, 60 miles per hour.
Yeah, I just looked, Stigler had a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust. Stigler there in Haskell County, just to the west of Leflore. I know we've got some folks that can get us over the airwaves there. 58-mile-per-hour gusts when it came through your area. I think we're seeing likely some 50 to near 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts showing up with these brighter colors here as the winds get further away from the radar site, but still pretty close. We're getting a good sampling, so there's a higher chance here that these strong winds in the mid and upper levels of the storm are making it down towards the surface. These lines of thunderstorms, they always have strong winds. Those strong winds just don't always come out of the storm and come down to the surface. So heads up to you in Poto, up towards Pacola, now Highway 71 south of Greenwood towards Mansfield. Potential for some damaging wind gusts coming in. Again, we have, what'd you say, around 1,000 or so for Crawford County?
Crawford was the last update. If we refresh it again.
Might get some Sebastian County, too.
Crawford is up to 2,000 now. And
2,000
Sebastian
customers.
is just short of 2,000 power outages.
Yeah.
So altogether between Washington, around 6,000, around 8,000 power outages in northwest Arkansas down to the River Valley as well.
8,000, yeah. So, I mean, that's a lot, and that's because of these winds. And a lot of that at times has been from winds that were less than 60 miles per hour. And those winds really started to pick up as they came in on the north side of Fort Smith. How many times have we seen that happen?
Right.
Storms pick up speed or intensity. Strong winds pick up right as they're coming into the west side of Fort Smith, the north side. This area right here, in a couple years of forecasting here, Stephen, I know you've seen it too. Storms sometimes they just intensify. I've seen them not even be that strong out in other areas of Sequoia County, and then just they ramp up in this area so often. New severe thunderstorm warning down there towards the southwest. This area out here had been warned for 70 to 80 mile per hour winds for a while. So Tallahena, Latimer County, and then southwestern LaFleur County, new severe thunderstorm warning for you guys.
That's up for 70 mile per hour wind gusts now. So folks who get us down in Tallahena, again, heads up, line of thunderstorms moving down, starting to pulse up and down, right? We went to some wind gusts around 30, 40 miles an hour now as it's moving south still producing anywhere between 50 to 70 mile an hour winds.
Yeah, and again, we talked about Stigler had a, 58 mile per hour wind gust. I know Muskogee had a close to a 70 mile per hour wind gust. So the further west you go, this line of storms does have more of a history of 60 plus mile per hour winds. So gets stronger the further west we go. Again, we're watching this line of storms. Let's zoom into this area right here. So you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning in Logan County, but for those now south of Paris, closer to Boonville, you're going to notice the north winds picking up here soon. I would expect, look at this leading edge here, this line of colors moving right there. That's the outflow boundary. That's the rain cold air. That's the gust front. That's the rain cold air surging out of this cluster of storms. We've been seeing consistently, as it came through northwest Arkansas and the River Valley now, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. So at the very least, I would expect and warn you that some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts coming through Paris, Shoal Creek, down towards Waveland, down towards Boonville, down towards Tate, Mount Magazine. Seeing those winds going to be picking up over the next 30 minutes to an hour. The further south you go towards the Scott County, Logan County line. We're still going to have some gusty winds. You could still get 20, 30 plus mile per hour winds that kind of linger for a little bit, even once the leading edge of the strong winds kind of passes through your area. Dover, Russellville, Pope County, we've got those strong winds coming into your area below severe limits, but I would expect at least some 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, possibly a stronger wind gust or two can't be ruled out in there, especially on any higher elevations, any of those ridges off towards the south of the Arkansas River. You can get, when you go up in elevation there, you can get some stronger winds. So at least 30, 40 mile per hour winds, but the stronger winds are out towards the west. Sebastian County under that severe thunderstorm warning. LaFleur County under that severe thunderstorm warning. Haskell, Latimer County under severe thunderstorm warning. And those winds, those colors just continue to get brighter and brighter, don't they? I know we're getting further away from the radar site, but we're overall still relatively pretty close here. So, I mean, we could be seeing some very strong damaging winds. I would say at least I would feel more confident that you are probably getting a 60 mile per hour wind gust showing up there just to the east of Poto. This is heading off towards the south, Stephen.
Yeah, so heading off to the south right now, and like Zach was just pointing out, just to the east side of Poto is where you see that bright, almost pink and white color. Those are definitely our strongest winds right now. So heads up if you're in the Poto area, that's where those strong winds are going to be. Just to the west of Mansfield, you're also going to be involved in where we're seeing the brightest returns right now. That's going to continue to probably strengthen here over the next 10, 15 minutes or so. So here's another heads up. This system is slowing down a little bit, still producing very strong winds. Heavener, again, close to 930. Mansfield, 915. That's only a couple minutes here. So get ready for some of those stronger winds. And then as this continues to push off towards the south, hopefully, right, we could trend towards some lower winds, that starts to die down just a bit. But right now, the trend is this continues to keep on increasing in that energy, producing stronger and stronger winds.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of watch some of those mesonet sites out there in eastern Oklahoma. And a little bit delayed. Latest update was at 9:05. I'm kind of curious to see if we can't catch any of those stronger winds near the Podo area. We have a mesonet site that we're going to be watching, but some very strong winds. Yeah, zoom in there and let's continue to take a closer look.
So this is going to be right on the LaFleur, Sebastian County line, where you see these bright returns just to the east of Podo, where you see almost that orange color, right, Zach, is where those strongest winds of this whole line is going to be right now. So if you live right around the county line, let's see here some of those roads right near 59, closing in on 96, 252. Right in this area, just towards east of Podo, west of Mansfield and Sebastian County, these are some strong winds, probably anywhere between 60 and 70 mile per hour wind gusts.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, those are very bright. So when we go from red to pink to yellow to orange, winds are getting stronger. So potentially damaging winds pushing through the Gilmore area, some damaging wind gusts near the Hill area now just off towards the south. Here's Midland. So this is Arkansas. This is Oklahoma. This is far eastern areas of LaFleur County. There's Podo. Strongest winds will stay just off towards your east, though you still got a good shot to get some 30, 40, maybe 50 mile per hour gusts. I would expect certainly a 50 mile per hour gust would be possible. Potential for 60 or higher, going to be right here. We're not that far away from the radar site. We're getting a little higher in elevation, but I think we could see some closer to at least a 60 mile per hour wind gust. If we got some official reports out of there of that, that would make sense from what we're seeing here. Zoom out just a little bit more. You still got some strong winds around the Midland area. Let me have you come back in. Let's go back in a little bit more on the Sebastian County area. Is there they updated? I was wondering if they were going to update that to maybe,
I assume this is going to be up to
70? Yeah.
So, yep, 70 mile an hour winds now.
That makes sense. And I bet they're even talking specifically about this area right here around Gilmore. I was kind of waiting while I was getting my thoughts together a little bit. I was saying, man, I wonder if they're going to upgrade this from 60 mile per hour to 70 mile per hour winds. So what's the newest information, Stephen? I'll let you read that out.
Yeah, so that's for 70 mile an hour winds now. This is picking up a little speed. It's still around 30, 35 miles per hour, pushing off towards the south, southeast. The biggest upgrade really only change, still going out until 9:45, but now we're increasing that wind threat from 60 mile an hour winds to up to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. And this is right in the area where we're seeing those brightest returns, where you're going to have the greatest potential of seeing those wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, so from between Podo over towards Mansfield, this is the area. If you live within this area, you've got property here. This is the area that has the highest chance now of seeing 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. I bet you we are seeing at least 60 mile per hour winds there making it to the ground. And then anywhere along this line, all the way back through LaFleur County, potential 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts are going to be there, but it's these brighter colors we're seeing in eastern LaFleur County. Move away from windows, move into the interior part of your home. If you live around a bunch of trees, again, you want to get away from those exterior walls. If those big trees come crashing down in your home, people are injured that way and killed that way every year so often. Not even a tornado, but just a severe thunderstorm push trees into the sides of these homes all the time, and we see the loss of life that way. But yeah, all the way across LaFleur County, at least 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Potential starts to get higher as you get near Podo and off towards the east, that you're going 60 up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts all the way towards Mansfield. We're seeing that potential increase there right along and just to the west of Highway 71. We've had power outages for northwest Arkansas when the winds came through, and we were just talking about gusts more 40 to 50 miles per hour. Winds started to pick up on the north side of Fort Smith. We've got a couple thousand without power in Crawford, Sebastian County. Again, I know we start to get into some rural areas, but I would expect that we're going to have some power outages showing up for LaFleur County as well into Sebastian County for this cluster, this pocket of winds that is likely producing some damage, maybe some tree damage, some power line poles, things like that, maybe even a little roof damage with some shingles. These are the kind of winds that can do that. Are we seeing anything else? This is, last time we looked, this was the strongest winds. Winds hadn't been picking up too much out towards the east. Looks like the radar data is a little bad here, but we're still seeing some gusty winds. We hadn't forgot about you, Logan County. We're likely still seeing some 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts there with that red line kind of moving south. We're going to continue to watch that. Some gusty winds. These are the strongest ones. And we've had our eye on them the whole time. Stephen, as soon as they were coming into Fort Smith and then south of Fort Smith, you just saw the brighter colors, and that's where we started to focus a little bit more in on.
Right. So right now, again, while this is not warned, Boonville heads up down to, and we haven't really mentioned, Scott County, you're still down the line, but Waldron area, down at Tate, Parks, that's where this line is moving in right now. You just heard us talk about how on the Sebastian LeFlore County line, those winds peaking up around 60, 70 miles per hour. That's trending off towards the south. Looks like it'll be well west of Waldron, but definitely the Heavener area. I've been down there before. Lots of vegetation, lots of trees in southern LeFlore County. So that's where those trees can be blown around. Hopefully we don't see any of that knocked over. That's where we can get some of those damage reports coming out. But definitely when we see these winds peaking up around that 60, 70 mile an hour range, that's when we're going to be talking about some damage reports starting to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you're right. Talking about the vegetation, all the trees that we have, these winds are certainly capable enough of knocking some of those over. Again, strongest winds, let's zoom in right in here. Eastern LeFlore County, you could still have some gusts near 50 miles per hour. Now that leading edge is getting further off towards the south, but still the strong winds linger for a while back behind the leading edge of wind of the stronger winds. Poto, you could still have some damaging wind gusts in your area, but that really picks up as you move east towards Gilmore, Hill area, further to the north, now along Highway 83, Hartford. This is in Arkansas. This is Sebastian County. Fort Smith's just to the north of the screen here. From Dayton down to Mansfield, we've got some strong winds around Mansfield. Anytime you see these brighter colors where we go from red to pink to more yellow and orange, that's where we're talking about the threat is highest for some 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So let's zoom in a little bit closer where these stronger winds are right now. Again, near and just north of the highway. See if we can get some more of these towns that kind of pop up. Again, you're going to see some names that you don't typically see because we're not always that close in some of these rural areas. But usually when we are, it's not for a good reason, right? We're tracking storms, we're tracking strong winds and things of that nature. Gilmore, still some strong winds off towards the north. Trestle Ford, again, anywhere near south and just north of Highway 83, east of Pecola, potential for 70 mile per hour damaging winds. Get into an interior structure, sturdy structure, get away from the windows. I know it's tempting to stand out on the back porch or the front porch, the patio, or near the window and kind of watch these storms roll through. These are the kind of winds that can pick up debris and throw those into your windows or wherever you're standing and can hurt you that way. These are also strong enough winds with all the trees that we have down here to knock over trees. Get away from the exterior walls. You want to put as many walls between you as the outside as possible. You can treat 60, 70 mile per hour damaging wind gusts, and that's the threat we have here. You can treat those like a tornado. Again, you want to put as much padding between you and the outside as possible. And again, these are the kind of winds that can easily knock trees over onto homes or buildings. Strong winds coming south of Highway 96 there. Strongest winds to the south of the Hartford area. Let's go up towards Mansfield, Stephen, and we'll see the stronger winds. Again, when we see those brighter colors showing up, that's where we have some stronger winds. Now southeast of Mansfield, this is far northwestern areas of Scott County. Still some strong winds back towards Fox Hill, back towards Midland, Highway 45. Again, we're seeing those strong winds. These brighter colors could be 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts coming out of that thunderstorm.
Yeah, I was just checking out power outages in Oklahoma as well. Around 1,500 between Sequoia and LeFlore County as well. With these winds coming through the floor right now, I won't be surprised if that goes up. We'll give you an update on the power outages in Arkansas, 2,000 still in Crawford, and we've eclipsed close to 2,200 in Sebastian already. Johnson's got a couple hundred power outages. Franklin has around 150 power outages, and Washington County is our highest right now, just shy of 4,000 without power right now.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, again, the strongest winds in northwest Arkansas that we had measured, and again, we've got a few of these spots kind of spread out a little bit. We had stronger winds, we're up near X and A. So it's amazing that we don't have more power outages for Benton County when we had confirmed a couple different 50, 53 mile per hour wind gusts. But we definitely have our strongest winds of the day have been showing up as this line of storms picked up strength as it came through the Fort Smith area. And then the strongest winds here, this is a 20-minute, 15-minute loop here. You see these strongest winds really showing up along the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, eastern LeFlore County. into Sebastian County, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. A wall of wind is heading south. Stephen has the latest timing here.
Yeah, Heavener, it's right now. That's where those strongest winds coming through, peaking up around 60 to 70 miles per hour. Once it eventually gets to Scott County, Waldron, right around 940. So if you're in and around Scott, mainly on the western side of Scott County, that's where we're going to see those strongest winds are. Kind of the line of where we're seeing those brightest returns is you draw a line from Mansfield and everything towards the west into eastern Oklahoma is where we're seeing those strongest returns coming from. Usually when we see that red, that's where we have those 50, 60 mile an hour. When we start to get to this white and orange color, just to in between Poto and Mansfield, that's where those damaging winds are going to be coming from. That's where trees are going to get knocked over. That's where debris is going to get picked up. That's where we're seeing those brightest returns right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And they extend back for a while, so the winds are going to pick up and it's going to linger for a little bit too. I'd like to see this kind of cycle a little bit and we would lose some of these winds, but they are certainly lingering here and right over the same areas, right over that Arkansas-Oklahoma state line. I know we're getting into some rural spots here, but there's folks out here, and we want to make sure everyone's covered. Getting ready to cross out of Sebastian and into more of northwestern Scott County. Heavener, we were talking about you a little while ago. It's on the doorstep now. At least the potential of 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, those brighter colors in there. That's where you have the best chance to maybe get some of those 60 mile per hour wind gusts where you're seeing these brighter colors. I think that's where you're pushing 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Those brighter colors there in LaFleur County, and then these brighter colors here in Sebastian County near the Mansfield areas. Those brighter colors in there, that's where I think you're seeing a little bit better chance to be around 70 miles per hour as well. So they've extended the warning out here for LaFleur County. We'll let Stephen get an update on that in just a second, but you may notice and say, hey, why don't we have anything ahead in Scott County? This is the National Weather Service out of Little Rock for Scott County, so it'll be up to them if they're going to do it. I imagine they'll pull the trigger on this pretty quick. This is the National Weather Service out of Tulsa, so this is the boundary here, so they're keeping the warning going. Stephen, what's the latest on that for the rest of LaFleur County?
Yeah, that's going out for another hour till 10:30. The system's still moving south at around 35 miles per hour. Again, that's the line, that's the speed it's moving at. The winds involved with this storm still producing around 60 mile an hour winds. So a little bit of a downtrend, right, because that warning just to the north in northern LaFleur County and into Sebastian County is still warned for 70 mile an hour winds. That new warning for Heavener south of LaFleur County is only for 60 mile an hour winds. So still considered damaging, still could see some trees knocked over, but if that we're going from 70 to 60, hopefully we start to see that downward trend continue, but still some very damaging winds in between Poto, Mansfield right now. Again, as Zach just mentioned, I'm keeping an eye on our Little Rock chat from the Tulsa office in Little Rock. They're in charge of Scott, Logan, and Johnson counties. If they issue that warning, we'll go ahead and let you know.
Okay. Hey, can you go back to the graphic where we look at the entire area for watches and warnings? And while you pull that up, again, I think we should see a severe thunderstorm warning come out soon for at least the potential of some 60 mile per hour wind gusts. With the power outages we've seen already out, there you go. Or that was the thunderstorm watch. I thought for a second, I thought that was the warning. With the power outages we've seen from the gusty winds to the north, and then again, the winds that we've seen on radar there for LaFleur and Sebastian County, I expect that we should get a severe thunderstorm warning for Scott County. But it just shows you you're still under the thunderstorm watch for the potential of damaging wind gusts, and that's our main threat that we've been tracking from north to south. This isn't going to linger. Our rain's wrapping up in northwest Arkansas, and then again, it will be wrapping up in the River Valley here over the next couple of hours, and then we'll get that out of here and we'll get some sunshine to take over. So rain wrapping up in northwest Arkansas. We've still got some steady showers through the Boston Mountains up to the Fayetteville area. We're going to start drying out soon. The leading edge, that line of red, heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. Again, it pulsed back up as it came into the I-40 corridor and has been strengthening really as it's gone south. That's what we're watching. That's the worst of it. That is pushing into Scott County and southern LaFleur County. So we're about to get rid of this here in likely the next hour. I would say by 10:30 to 11 at the latest. The leading edge, the worst of this, is south of 5 country, and then we're going to look for sunshine to open up. Okay, can we go back to the graphic I had there at the top where it has the watches and it has the warnings, Stephen, at the top of that data, select data scenes that we had? There we go. Perfect. All right, so we've removed Delaware, Adair counties in Oklahoma, Benton, Washington, Madison, Carroll counties. We've removed those from the thunderstorm watch. I think we're severe clear now into Crawford. Just holding on to Franklin County, southern areas of Franklin County, definitely Logan County. We've got that thunderstorm moving through, but I think we're seeing the northern areas for sure, Franklin, Johnson, into Crawford counties, and even into Sequoia counties now. I think you guys are severe clear. You're good to go. We're just following that severe threat further off towards the south. So we're going to clear it from north to south. This is going to be the trend here. And by 11 o'clock, the worst of it should be off towards the south. So that's current, up to date as of 9:25. Those are the areas that are under thunderstorm watch and watches or warnings, and it's mostly shifted to the southern half of 5 country now. We can go ahead and throw reflectivity on, and we'll look at the area as a whole. Fantastic. Again, meteorologist Zach Scott alongside meteorologist Stephen Elmore tracking the shower and thunderstorms. Love to get the rainfall that we got here. I'd say most areas got somewhere between 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. There could be a few spots that got even a little bit more than that. It's just some steady showers to the north. Mostly I-40 is clear through most of 5 country now. As it starts to dip back to the south, you're getting into the Little Rock office here. You still got some showers and storms picking back up for the Russellville-Dardanelle area. This is the line that we're watching. This has 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts, I would expect, for parts of Logan County. And then as you get a little bit further west, this is where we've seen 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. We believe by using the radar, it looks every bit of like some 60 plus mile per hour winds likely impacting parts of LaFleur, Sebastian County. And then the winds actually get stronger. Threat of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds have been possible just out towards the west. So this is going to continue off towards the south. We've got those stronger winds right along the Arkansas state line. You're seeing the brighter colors. There's the radar site. These strong winds picked up through the Fort Smith area, and then these brighter colors started to show up a little bit more. Do a 30-minute loop, Stephen, and I bet we'll see, again, the brighter colors kind of peak and then coming down a little bit. Not seeing as many. Still very strong winds right in this area. But, yeah, you saw it right there. You could see that those stronger winds kind of pulsed up there for a minute, didn't they?
Yep, peaked up to that 70 mile an hour range. That's why we got that update from that warning from northern LaFleur County into southern Sebastian County. And as that warning was extended into southern LaFleur County, you kind of see those winds die down ever so slightly. Those bright colors kind of go away just a bit. That's why we're diving back down to those 60 mile an hour ranges. So hopefully we can still follow this trend, and hopefully we can start diving below that 60 mile an hour range, which obviously is that threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. I believe that may be the reason why, Zach, why we haven't seen a warning issued for Scott County yet out of the National Weather Service out of Little Rock, because maybe that eastern edge of that line is below that 60 mile an hour range, right? Maybe only wind gusts peaking around 40, 50 miles per hour. That threshold is 60, so I think the stronger winds are further west you go into southern LaFleur County.
Yeah, I think you still got, like you said, and like we've been saying, 30, 40 mile per hour gusts likely along this leading edge. Are we seeing anything closer to 60 or above? Latest look here, looking at the mesonet sites in Oklahoma. Man, I wish we had these in Arkansas. It takes a lot to maintain all these sites, but Oklahoma has, again, these mesonet sites recording data all over the state. They pretty much have every piece of real estate across the state covered. Poto had a 40 mile per hour gust in one of the latest updates that I just saw. The strongest winds were just to the east of you. So looking at those brighter colors, we're seeing those here. I think we could see, again, 30, 40 mile per hour gusts. As you look off towards the east, though, those colors got a lot brighter, and that's where we were likely seeing, again, 60 mile per hour winds, maybe 70 mile per hour winds. That's when the severe thunderstorm warning was upgraded there. So we're going to continue to track out this line of storms. Currently not seeing that warning continued for Scott County. We have lots of power outages for northwest Arkansas into the River Valley. Here in a couple of minutes, we'll get Stephen to give us an update on the latest power outages there. But where we see these brighter colors, that's where we have the potential for some 60 mile per hour wind gusts showing up across portions of LaFleur into Sebastian County. And then again, these winds are going to continue to extend off towards the south here, moving about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Stephen, do we have the latest on power outages for Sebastian, LaFleur County? I'll let you just kind of go ahead and give an overview there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and refresh this for Oklahoma. Just shy of 1,000 power outages in LaFleur County. For Sequoia County, right around 950 power outages. So together, probably we're close to 2,000 in eastern Oklahoma. For the Arkansas side of things, Washington still is our highest at right around just shy of 4,000 power outages. Crawford's still hanging on to around 2,000 power outages. Sebastian upgraded now to over 4,000 power outages.
Wow.
So altogether, we're right around the area of 10,000 power outages. In Northwest Arkansas down to the River Valley. Franklin is around 150 power outages. Johnson just shy of 200. Over to Pope County, even though that's outside of our viewing area, just right around 2,000 power outages.
Really? For Pope County?
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't even been under a severe thunderstorm warning.
Right.
So it looks like National Weather Service out of Tulsa trimming that warning down. Yeah, I think the majority of the line for Franklin, Logan, Johnson, and the Pope was closer to around 40-mile-per-hour gusts, too. And again, we had plenty of 40, maybe a few 50-mile-per-hour gusts mixed in parts of northwest Arkansas. That's what gave us some of the power outages there. This is where we're seeing some of the stronger winds still showing up. I think a lot of our LaFleur County power outages likely going to be in this area where I feel like we had a higher chance for those 60-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts. And then in Sebastian County, again, strong winds came through the Fort Smith area, came down Highway 71, Greenwood, just to the west of Mansfield, even areas near the Mansfield area. That's where we saw those stronger winds picking up. We're getting further and further away from the radar site, so we're no longer seeing the lower levels of the storm. We're starting to go back up in elevation a little bit because of the curvature of the earth, so that radar beam doesn't, hug the surface, right? It's just going to continue to climb in elevation. So I can't say with certainty that these stronger winds are reaching the ground, but it still shows you that these storms have plenty of strong winds to go around. Some of these likely making it down to the surface. I would expect 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts at the least are sweeping south across LaFleur County, are sweeping south into Scott County. You get on these higher ridges down here. Now we're getting into the Ouachitas, right? These higher ridges, the winds are going to be elevated on those ridges even more. So 30, 40 mile per hour winds, and then you go higher up in elevation, you could easily get 40, some 50 mile per hour gusts. But are we still seeing 60, 70 mile per hour winds? It's possible there could be a gust in there too. I would think at least some 60 mile per hour wind gusts, probably some pockets of that are going to be possible. I can't believe that the National Weather Service in Little Rock is not issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Scott County, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on chat right now. They're not saying anything so far about issuing that warning. Those returns definitely look bright enough to at least be crossing close to at least 60. Here's a quick update for you. We're going to turn off this velocity real quick, just show you. Warning the watch has now been trimmed out of, I believe, Crawford County was so Crawford County is now outside of that severe thunderstorm watch.
You can go into the watches if you want, and you can take your time to do it if you need to, but you can go into the watches and turn the heat advisory off. That's what we're seeing right here. So it's just like one thing after the other, right? We've had excessive heat warnings, heat watches, or heat advisories here for the last couple of days for the River Valley. You're still technically under a heat advisory for later today. With all this recent rainfall, it could certainly add to the mugginess out there. But that's what we're watching, the potential for some heat to build in later today. But yeah, good eye there. So we were just talking about that a couple minutes ago, that the severe threat was over for Sequoia, Crawford County. Feel confident, and Stephen chime in too, feel confident that severe threats over in Franklin County. I think it's over in Johnson County. They're going to linger with Logan County because we've still got some heavy rain and gusty winds further to the south. I think the severe threat's still there for you in Scott and LaFleur, Latimer County, likely even some stronger winds out there for you guys.
Yep. So again, while we were talking about how we got two National Weather Service offices here between Tulsa and Little Rock, while we don't have a warning in Scott County right now, if you take a look at velocity, definitely some strong winds west of Waldron up to the county line, past the county line into eastern Oklahoma. That's where those strongest winds are right now. So we'll keep an eye on our Tulsa or our Little Rock chat to see if we get that next warning. But right now, that warning continues until 10:30, a little less than an hour now for southern LaFleur County. And this system is slowing down a bit. Again, across northwest Arkansas this morning, this system was hustling, moving around 55 miles per hour. Now it's down to around 30, 35 miles per hour, still producing those strong damaging winds though.
Mesonet sites, LaFleur County, offline now. So it shows you we had some strong winds move through, didn't it? Again, it's these brighter colors. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. We're getting a little further away from the radar side, but it's these brighter colors, and we'll go from west to east here, Stephen. These brighter colors near Highway 59 around Heavener. The brighter colors here just to the east of Heavener in far east central areas of LaFleur County. Pretty rural spots here, but for anybody that's out there, these are some strong winds. This is where maybe we have the better chance to see wind gusts possibly up around 60 miles per hour. You still got these brighter colors. That leading edge moving south now further into the Ouachitas. You have the potential for at least 30, 40, up to some 50 mile per hour wind gusts. With strong winds coming into northern Scott County. We've got gusty winds from Brawley up towards Oliver, over towards Waldron now. We can zoom in on the Waldron area. Strong winds coming in. We're looking at potential for 40, 50 plus mile per hour winds. I imagine we have a SPS out for Scott County from Little Rock at least. I'll let you look into that for a second. So before if you've got a strong storm and it's not just quite up to severe criteria, but it's still packing a punch, they'll issue these special weather statements. And often for those, we have the threat of 40, 50 mile per hour winds. Do we have anything like that, Stephen?
Yeah, one was issued for 9:04. I'm assuming that's the same one that's continuing into parts of Scott County.
For wind gusts up to 50?
That was for wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, yes.
Okay. So yeah, brighter colors there in northwestern Scott County. Strongest winds just out towards your west. Waldron, though, winds are picking up. You live on Highway 71, winds are picking up, switching from the south to the north. Easily some 30, 40 mile per hour gusts. Higher chance of 50 to some 60 mile per hour gusts can't be ruled out the further west you go with these brighter colors, especially up on those ridges there. You want to zoom out just a little bit and we'll look at the rest of this. That red line, that's the strong winds moving away from the radar site in Fort Smith. I think you still get some gusty winds, 20, 30 miles per hour. It can linger for a little bit well behind that leading edge of the line, but likely some gusty winds still lingering in Logan County. Still got some heavy rainfall, but we're seeing that leading edge now continue further south through Scott County. So here in the next 30 minutes, we may see the leading edge of this south of Scott County, and then I would say in the next 30 to 45 minutes, an hour tops, I think the worst winds will actually be south of 5 Country. Can we do another regional shot of reflectivity? Again, meteorologist Stephen Elmore. We also have meteorologist Bella Grace here, and then myself, meteorologist Zach Scott. The team's here. We're tracking it, and we've got you covered here as we watch this line of storms continue to advance off towards the south. Main threat we've been watching this morning, potential for some damaging wind gusts mixed in. Have not had any severe warnings out here, but it still shows you this line packs a punch where we've still had some power outages. And maybe, again, a 40, 50 mile per hour gust, we've talked about it, that could easily knock down a tree or two. Maybe that's what we've had, some trees or two go into some power lines. And give us some of those power outages. Stephen said we had around 2,000 out in the Pope County area. Again, lines advancing further south, heavy rain, at least some 30, 40 mile per hour gusts, maybe a 50 mile per hour gust or two for Logan County. And then we're looking at some strong winds, 30, 40, maybe up to 50 miles per hour moving into northern Scott County. And we're looking at the stronger line of winds continue to push further and further through LaFleur County. Very heavy rainfall, even stronger winds, LaFleur County and areas out towards the west there south of McAllister. Stephen, any updates?
Nothing from either one of the National Weather Service offices. Again, you heard Zach talking about it, those power outages. Earlier, Washington was our highest count at just shy of 4,000 power outages. Now Sebastian has the most power outages across the River Valley right now with just over 4,000 power outages. So we had some very strong winds come through. And again, also important to notice that while these winds are moving through right now, still causing these power outages, later on today, we're going to see some sunshine break out. We're going to see those temperatures climb once again, and we could see those heat index values, especially across the River Valley, eclipsing those triple-digit mark once again. So it's going to get hot today. Hopefully we can get some of the power restored because AC, when those heat index values are well into the triple digits, got to be pretty high outside.
Okay, yeah, we're tracking the showers and storms pushing through. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Sebastian County, LaFleur County. That's where we're being hit the hardest. Back into Latimer County. Potential here for some stronger winds still lingering. What's the latest velocity? Again, we had that threat really ramp up as it came through the Fort Smith area, especially off towards the south, south of Pensacola. We saw those winds start to increase a lot more. Looked like we were getting 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts through eastern LaFleur County. And then as it started to pick up, kind of fanned out a little bit more, parts of Sebastian County likely had at least a few 60-mile-per-hour gusts, maybe a few 70-mile-per-hour gusts there as well. Again, we're looking at these gusty winds, the heavy rain shifting off towards the south. The I-40 corridor for 5 Country, you're out of the severe weather threat. Some lingering showers and sprinkles here. We're drying out now. Northwest Arkansas, the rain is pushed out. Skies are going to be breaking up. As Stephen said, the heat's going to come back as we go into the afternoon, especially with the recent rain. It's going to add to the mugginess. But the severe threat right now is for LaFleur County, Latimer, and then back into, I think the threat's still there for Scott County. Even though we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning, you could still get some strong wind gusts closer to 50 miles per hour. So we're going to continue to track this out a little bit. Again, we had some reports of some recorded 53-mile-per-hour wind gusts, a couple different ones at the X&A airport there, at the weather site there. And then Drake Field had some gusts around 40 miles per hour. I think we had a lot of 30 to 40-mile-per-hour gusts for Northwest Arkansas with some of those 50-mile-per-hour gusts mixed in. We've had, I believe, plenty of 30 to 40-mile-per-hour gusts through the Boston Mountains, and maybe a few 50-mile-per-hour gusts mixed in. What's the latest on Fort Smith? Can you refresh that, Stephen, and see what, I'll let you look at it for a second, but go through there and see what the strongest wind gust we officially had at the airport there was.
Yeah, latest one is at 31 miles per hour, but the strongest wind gust at the airport that we recorded was at 48 miles per hour. That was just around just 1 minute past 9 a.m. So
Really?
that was about
Yeah.
45 minutes ago. That strongest wind gust this morning was at around 50 miles per hour.
And we were seeing the winds pick up as they were coming in. So if we got up to 48 there, I think we could add 10 miles per hour to that. I think we at least were probably close to 58, 60 miles per hour as those winds were only getting stronger. Using what we have, using the radar, we were getting some returns that said potentially some 70-mile-per-hour gusts, but that doesn't always mean it's reaching the ground. The brighter colors that we were seeing at least said to us that some 60-mile-per-hour gusts were possibly making it to the ground, and that was south of Fort Smith. So Fort Smith at the airport, 48, maybe had a 50-mile-per-hour gust move through the area. We were probably getting closer to 60 parts of LaFleur into Sebastian County off towards the south. Any new updates for us?
No new updates. Just want to zoom back in here of where those strongest winds are right now. Again, we had some strong winds across Northwest Arkansas this morning down into the Fort Smith region. Now where the strongest line is right now is southern LaFleur County into almost southern portions of Scott County now. So we're almost out of our viewing area now. But those strong winds where you see those bright returns coming back are still most likely around that 60, maybe even 70-mile-an-hour range. So let's go ahead and take another look. I haven't seen, well, usually when we have a new update, though, that polygon will blink to give us a warning that something's changed, but they're still hanging on to around 60-mile-an-hour winds. This goes out until 10:30 a.m. for southern LaFleur County. Could have some of those strong winds where you see those brightest returns sneak into western Scott County as well. It looks like it's making that turn maybe just a little bit. But definitely, if we zoom in here, just south of Heavener, close to Black Fork, that's where those strongest winds are right now. We see those bright orange returns coming from.
Yeah, and we have some reports of trees, limbs broken off, and some power lines down around the Arcoma area. Obviously, that would track with the power outages that we have for Sequoia, LaFleur, into Sebastian and Crawford counties. We know that we're dealing with some power issues around Fort Smith, and that was as we had some gusts around 50 miles per hour likely come through. Also seeing some strong winds pushing through LaFleur all the way back into Latimer County. And I think we're going to have scattered tree damage and scattered power line damage across parts of the river valley all the way back. The further west you go, that's where the strongest winds were. You could have even a little bit more damage. Lots of trees down here. So yeah, we're going to have some tree limbs that are going to be broken and thrown around, and then likely some scattered tree damage there, especially the further south you go into LaFleur County, and that's where we're getting some of those brighter colors. Still getting some of those brighter returns. So what we're looking at here, red is winds going away from the radar site that is up near Barling, and we have those colors going from red to pink to yellow to even some orange shading in there. That's indicating some strong winds. Now, we know these winds are strong in the mid-levels of the storm, but are they reaching the surface? I can bet you at least 30, 40-mile-per-hour winds are reaching the surface, maybe some 50, possibly still up to 60-mile-per-hour winds are reaching the surface. That's why we have this severe thunderstorm warning for LaFleur County going for another, 30 minutes? And forgive me if
out-
you've said that recently.
Goes up till 10:30, so we got another about 45 minutes.
Okay. That's for 60. And it had pulsed up to 70, but now we're still looking at just the threat of 60 miles per hour, Stephen?
Yes, that was still at
Okay.
60.
And then you get some of these brighter colors in Scott County. You could have some 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts showing up there as well. So looks like we're going to have some power line and tree damage kind of scattered around. Some of that's going to be in northwest Arkansas. And then we may even see a little bit more of that kind of scattered around Sequoia County, around the Fort Smith metro, if you will. We're going to see some of those trees and some of those limbs and power lines. You might be on the watch out for some of that as you're driving around here over the next hour or so. Going to take a little time to get that cleaned up. We're going to have some good weather to clean some stuff up, maybe just straighten up some things on your front porch or your back patio here as we go through the afternoon, but it's going to be hot. The clouds are not going to linger all day. This rain-cooled air is not going to linger all day. The heat and humidity will come roaring back this afternoon as sunshine does increase. We could still see highs get into the low to mid-90s in our warmer spots today, pushing feels-like temperatures. A little bit better chance for that maybe in the River Valley to get close to around the triple digits again. So something to keep in mind, but we do have power outage issues for LaFleur, Sequoia, into Sebastian, Crawford, into even Franklin, over towards Johnson, Pope counties, into Washington County here this morning. It's because this line of storms, it's getting ready to exit our southern zones, but it's still lingering here just a little bit. Potential for some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds pushing south of Heavener now and into western areas of Scott County.
Yeah, I got a power outage update for you as well, Zach. We're over 4,500 power outages in Sebastian County. Franklin is up to around 500. Johnson's around 1,500 power outages now. Crawford, good news, down to 1,500, so maybe some folks getting some power back. And really good news, Washington was right around 4,000 power outages. We're just over 1,000 now, so some power starting to come back as the system keeps on diving down. Crews able to get out there outside of the rain and be able to restore power for some folks across eastern Oklahoma. LaFleur County's up to just shy of 1,500 power outages. Sequoia just shy of 1,000 power outages.
Yeah, parts of northwest Arkansas getting close to 2 hours without some power here this morning. And again, you nailed it earlier when you said, hey, the heat's coming back. We need to get, hopefully we can get this power on. The crews around this region and not only here, but all across the country do such a great job of getting out there, getting to the areas, targeting what needs to be fixed and getting it cleaned up and getting everybody back online. So we're thankful for them out there this morning. Still lots of lightning, heavy rain. We can go to reflectivity. We're looking at velocity here. So we're looking at the winds. That's the main threat. Obviously, where you're seeing the reds and the oranges, that's where you're getting the very heavy rainfall. So heavy rainfall, strong winds pushing into Scott County, pushing into southern LaFleur County. This is the leading edge, getting ready to exit the area, and then we'll go ahead, wrap up, catch our breath here. We're not going to be tracking any shower or thunderstorm chances for the next couple of days. Now, we could get some late day thunderstorms, maybe closer to the Missouri state line has the best chance for that. Saturday, PM, afternoon, evening, we'll watch for a few thunderstorm chances, mainly northwest Arkansas and northeast Oklahoma. And then we could see some more scattered showers and thunderstorms trying to come back into the area. A little bit better chance, five country as a whole. As we go Saturday night and into Sunday, we'll be watching for some more shower and thunderstorm chances coming in. We need the rainfall. We just don't want any of the severe weather that goes with it. A lot of lightning here. That's a threat. Some ponding on the highways. That's a threat. And then the potential for these damaging wind gusts coming in. Still could get maybe a 50, 60 mile per hour gust or two. LaFleur County, I think you can get some 50 mile per hour gusts possibly there. Maybe a gust or two above that in parts of Scott County, mainly off towards the western areas. Can we do a regional view here once more? You start to run out of things to say, right, Stephen? You say it over and over and over again. The one thing we don't mind saying over and over again is the severe weather threat. Over for northwest Arkansas, severe weather threat. Over for the River Valley. We're down into the northern areas of the Ouachitas now. That's where we're looking at the line of storms continuing. Again, a good swath of heavy rain swept all the way through five country here this morning. It will be moving out, and the sunshine and the heat will be moving back in.
Yeah, that's the big part for today, right? I mean, our power outages updates, they're not always the exact number. That sometimes they'll fluctuate. Good news is we've seen some of those power outage numbers come down a little bit, but especially across places like LaFleur into Waldron, Scott County, southern Sebastian County. Our heat index today is going to be anywhere from 100 to 105. We had that heat advisory. I believe they went ahead and canceled it. Maybe that rain that we're seeing right now is going to cool off some temperatures later on today, but it's still going to be very hot outside, even though we don't have that heat advisory. And it's still going to be very humid outside. So folks who are maybe without power for the next couple of hours, hopefully we can get some power back as this line continues to dive off towards the south. Rain still coming down in parts of Franklin into Crawford County, down to Sequoia County, and northern Sebastian County. That's well below the severe limits. That's just some rain hanging on the back side of this line of thunderstorms right now. The only threat that we have is along that leading edge that's in extreme southern Lafleur County and southern Scott counties right now, as this line continues to dive off towards the southeast at around 35 miles per hour.
Yep. And again, I just looked at it and refreshed it. Heat advisory is still there.
Okay.
And again, the fear is that the sunshine gets out of here enough, and the humidity that's still here and the humidity from the recent rain could shoot those feels-like temperatures back up near 105. I'll tell you this, though. If the clouds do linger and again, we stay cool for another hour or two and it kind of slows it, then I think we'll see it get out of here, just because you'll start to run out of enough time. So we may get an update around noon. Wait to see, okay, what does it look like with the clouds? What does it look like with the sunshine? And I'll even step out here. I haven't even looked outside in a little while. Kind of take a look back here live in Johnson, take a look at the sky off the back patio, see what it looks like. We still have some clouds starting to thin out a little bit, not as dark as it was an hour or two ago when the storms were coming through. Got pretty dark outside once again. But yeah, I think the sunshine is going to be coming out, and then that's going to be heating us back up. Again, we're going to go another minute or two here. We're tracking this line of storms. It's pushing off towards the south. Right now below severe limits for Scott County into Lafleur County, but still the threat for 30, 40 mile per hour winds. I think you can expect that in southern Lafleur and in Scott County. I think we have those. But what do we have higher? Do we have some 50? Do we have some 60 mile per hour gusts? Still possible. Where you get those brighter shadings. So where we go from red to pink, and then we go towards more orange and yellow. That's where we have the stronger winds. Again, we're higher up. We're looking higher up in the storm now. So these brighter colors closer to the radar site earlier definitely had us worried there. Likely had those 60, maybe a 70 mile per hour gusts in Lafleur, parts of Sebastian County come down out of the storm. But this far away, can't say for certain that these winds are reaching the surface, but if you've got these winds in this thunderstorm, you likely have at least some 40, 50 mile per hour gusts making it to the ground. So I think the threat is still there for 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts in some pockets, especially in southeastern Lafleur County and parts of western, northwestern Scott County. This would be your area, the best chance to get a 40, 50 mile per hour gust, maybe a 60 mile per hour gust, especially with these winds here in Lafleur County. The rest of the area, you can bet that you've got some 30, 40 mile per hour winds. So this is moving out of the area, moving out of 5 country. Some roll spots out here getting into the Ouachetals, but as you get in those higher ridges too, the winds are going to be even stronger. Those ridges of the Ouachetals, you'll have easily maybe even some 50 mile per hour gusts. You can probably bet on that a little bit. Severe thunderstorm watch goes until 11 a.m. We definitely won't need it by then. We may not even need it by 10:30. Any updates from the National Weather Service there?
Let's go ahead and check it out. I was looking at Little Rock. Let's see here. Talking about the heat advisory later on today across central Arkansas. Out of Tulsa, got a few damage reports coming in outside of our viewing area into Latimer County. Muskogee had some very strong winds come through. And then just the latest updates, that was about 10 minutes ago. They're just continuing that severe thunderstorm warning that we're following right now for southern Lafleur County. And again, that goes out until 10:30. We did have a damage report come out of Arcoma for some strong winds. And that is our damage reports right now as we go on throughout the rest of this morning into the early afternoon. More than likely, we're going to see some more reports come up of some trees blown down, hopefully nothing into homes. But that's definitely what can happen when we have these straight line winds really start to affect the vegetation outside, blowing that around and eventually blowing those trees up out of the ground as well. So that's why we're starting to see some of these damage reports come out now. But a quick heads up, now I'm just looking at radar right now. It's outside of our viewing area, but if you've got friends, you've got family in the Mena area, that's where it's heading next. This line of thunderstorms is really starting to hold up now. It's traveled a long distance and maybe died down a little bit, producing those winds from around 70 miles per hour when it was in the Poto-Mansfield area, now to around 60 miles per hour, but it's still strong enough. We'll probably see those storms push through the Mena area here in the next 30 minutes to an hour or so.
Yeah, looking at the strongest wind gusts using Mesonet sites in eastern Oklahoma, we had a 47-mile-per-hour gust in northeastern Adair County. Sallisaw came in around 37. To the west of Sallisaw, far western Sequoia County, we had a 43-mile-per-hour gust. Poto was around 41 miles per hour. We had a 58-mile-per-hour gust there in Haskell County. And again, we likely had, we know we had some 40 to 50-mile-per-hour gusts scattered around northwest Arkansas, parts of the River Valley, and then we think our strongest wind gusts likely around the Arcoma, Fort Smith area, and then coming south along the state line, just a little to the west, just a little to the east, Mansfield, Poto, areas in between had the highest chance to see maybe our strongest gusts of the day, some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. All right, we're getting closer to 10 a.m. Steve, why don't we go ahead and wrap this up? Again, we're watching the showers and storms start to push south out of the area. Heavy rainfall across Scott and southern LaFleur County. You've got the rain. It'll linger for another 30 minutes, I would say. Heavy rain. You've got some gusty winds. 30 to 40 mile per hour winds are likely within this line here for everyone. There could be a pocket or two of some 40, 50, maybe 60 mile per hour wind gusts in far southeastern LaFleur County. Some 40, 50 mile per hour pockets of winds possible in far western areas of Scott County. We're rain free now in northwest Arkansas. Rain is wrapping up from north to south. I-40 corridor, we're looking good here as again, the severe threat is over. The severe threat right now still technically lingers for southern areas of LaFleur County and into Scott County. We're going to continue to keep you updated. We'll let you know if any of these storms pulse up within the next few minutes, but likely they're going to be moving out of the area within the next, I would say, 15 to 30 minutes. We should see the heaviest rain and the strongest winds south of the area. Stephen, any last comments you want?
Yeah, those strong winds continuing just for a little bit longer. Again, this is for extreme southern LaFleur County. Waldron, Scott County area is not above the severe limits. That's why we haven't had that warning. Clearing up across northwest Arkansas, like Zach said, showers going to continue across the River Valley maybe for the next couple of hours, with just showers lingering behind it. But the severe threat is just wrapping up as that pushes out towards the south outside of our viewing area. If we do start to see something pulse back up on the back half of the system, we'll definitely hop back on here. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up and just monitor from the Weather Center.